here. So let's give them a nice warm welcome. Thank you for joining us.
I'm Arlene, and I'm from Wawagabewin. I'm not so good with mic stands. Originally, I actually asked for a session to be given on goal setting and bringing our information back to our communities, because I think sometimes we learn all these wonderful skills and we forget to talk about these things when we go home. And I guess that's one of the reasons why they wanted this to be the first thing. And because I think that as we go through these sessions over the next 3 days, we need to be thinking about how are we going to spread this word when we get home. Climate change is something that is affecting all of us, no matter where we are, but especially the remote communities. The migratory patterns of our animals are changing. A couple years ago, the snow geese and the Canada geese came through at exactly the same time, and traditionally there's at least a couple of weeks between those two migrations. It changes the way we hunt as well. We were never on a caribou migration route. One morning, all of a sudden we looked out onto the lake and there was 400 caribou there. They were completely lost. That in itself should be concerning, because our food is not where it used to be. Food security is always an issue. How do we address food security in a place where, for us, we're float plane access only? So we depend on a winter road and a winter runway. In 2012, it was 3 months because of an excessive snowfall. That's 3 months where we can't get food, we can't get medical help, and we're stuck. Climate change is something that affects us all. The summer after that, we had massive temperature fluctuations. We have we're on a shallow river system, and the temperature shot up so fast that we had hundreds of fish die just from the temperature change in the water. The stench was absolutely, I didn't even know how to handle it, actually. One of the ways that we try and help ourselves when it comes to dealing with climate change is our gardening programs. The summer freight weight cost is $6.50 a pound. So growing our gardens, 400 pounds of potatoes, that's $2,600 in savings just on the freight. That's not even including the cost of the potatoes themselves. Another way we've done it is with the help of various governments. We have a solar panel installation now, 21 kilowatts. During the summer, actually, that would be enough to take care of all of our power needs. So we're expanding on the success of that project to lessen our need for fossil fuels. These are things that we can all start on from wherever we're at. And we need to keep on going, and we need to make sure that we're taking these messages home to our chiefs and councils, to our community members, so that they can start taking care of these things at the local level, at the housing level, at each individual family person. We can start making a change. One thing that we've lost a lot of in our communities is the intergenerational learning. And a big piece of that is from the various distractions that we have. Social media. Trying to get our youth back onto the land can be really hard when they're buried in their phones. The 60s scoop and the residential school era. Both of those things took away that whole generation, and we need to bring it back. And one of those ways is to sit and listen to our elders. Listen to what they have to teach us. They have a lot of knowledge about how to care for our land. They know the medicines, the foods, the shelter. They know these things, and we can't learn them without sitting with them and talking to them. We need to keep on encouraging our children and our grandchildren to go and sit with the elders and learn what it means to be patient, to learn what it means to just sit and listen. Only by teaching our youth to sit will we be able to combat all of the problems that we're having with our environment. We need to go back to our elders and learn from them. And that's basically what I wanted to bring Simon here for. Simon is a very wise man who I respect very highly, and he has a lot of knowledge that he'd like to share with you guys.
Thank you. I don't know. I don't know if I have that wisdom, but anyway, this segment I guess deals with setting goals. I guess so that speaks on planning. Okay, so whatever it is that we do, or you want to do, you have to think it out, what you're going to do, how you want to do it, what you have to do, if it's going, how much you're going to work, how much it's going to cost, all of that. So I've been in planning, working with at the community level, initially with the Indian Affairs projects. And so when we worked with community people, we had to explain what planning is about, what is planning. So the way I used to do it is I used to talk to them. Well, the way you have to think about it is that if you want to go to the store, you run out of something, and so you have to figure out when you're going to go to the store, and whether or not you have enough money for whatever it is that you want. And and doing all that, and then going to the store and getting what you need, that's planning. You're involved in actuating a plan that you've developed. That's how we told them. So in the past, our people, they always did that. They always set goals for themselves, and they always planned when they wanted to go out trapping, as an example, or a hunting trip, or a camping trip. They did the same thing. That's what I used to use when I was explaining that. But anyway, in this context, then one of the things that I want to speak on is about connecting the conference content to traditional values and beliefs. Now the thing is that with us, we've had that direction in terms of all the things that we need to think about and do in our lifetime, and these are contained in the teachings that have been handed down. They're stored in the legends, the stories of the legends, the characters within those stories. And so for me, my experience is that I just listened to elders, the kinds of things that they said about various things, about the environment, about the weather, and all that. I mean, like my late father, as an example, and one of my favorite aunts who died last year, Jemima Morris. My father used to say that um, you know, the way we have to, the way we have to know what we need to do is we have to be able to listen to the land. We listen to the grass and how it sounds when the wind is blowing. When the water is moving against the shore, stuff like that. Uh, one time, my late father and my aunt, we were doing something about language. That's what it was. So my father and Jemima Morris, they decided to talk about the fir tree. Try to figure out how many uses that the fir tree is, that our people had used it for. They came up with over 100 uses of a fir tree. And not only that, Jemima Morris spoke on. He said that in the environment, he said, with the things that grow in the environment, like the trees, they have their own language, is what he said. If we want to teach our children to hold their language, we have to teach them the language of the tree, as an example, is what she said. So, and she illustrated what she meant. She said that like in the winter when it's cold, so the tree freezes, it's all stiff and everything. When the wind comes, the branches sound different than they would in the summer. So that's part of the language of the tree that you're talking about. So, but what bothers me about that is that is fine and well. Yeah, I mean, that's what we did. Like me, with my own children and my grandchildren. When we were in a bush or something, that's what I did. That's what I taught them. But everything is changing. You start talking about the climate change. So the thing is, so who is going to carry on that teaching? When those changes occur. That's the thing that I'm thinking about. How obviously, I guess when we're doing planning, when we're talking about climate change, we have to consider things like that because it affects lives of people, like children, and how they learn. The other thing about these teachings, the legends. One of the common legends in our area is about the Wendigo legends. The Wendigo is about the cannibal. He's the one that ate people. And but in actuality, those Wendigo stories are a metaphor for starvation. In other words, those stories are told not only to scare children and all of that, okay, and teach them. What it does, what they do, is that it teaches people what not to do, so that you never get into a state of starvation. You never turn into a widow and eat your own people. In other words, that's the reason why those are told. That's the same principle that is used in teaching pilots. That fly small planes. In their training, they're trained how to get out of a dive when the plane goes into a dive or into a spin. When that happens to a plane, it's not flying anymore. So what you have to do is that you have to do about three things almost simultaneously to get out of the spin, to get out of the dive. And but the thing is, we don't. I mean, a plane doesn't get into that state, where it doesn't fly. Uh, um, Pilots are taught that, so they never put themselves or their planes into the state of not being able to fly. And that's the same principle that with the Windigo legends about starvation. Anyway, why I'm saying that is that there are interchanging things about how we learn in how things teach us about all that. So I don't want to take up too much time. I have a lot of stories and everything, but I'll be sitting here for all day talking about them. So I don't think I need to do that. Okay, thank you.